World Investment News continues its series on the Caribbean, and we're actually recording this video from the Dutch island of Aruba. But today we're going to talk about Antigua and Barbuda, which is a twin island nation of roughly 90,000 inhabitants, located on the cusp of the Eastern Caribbean chain of islands. And combining that strategic location with its airport and port infrastructure really makes it the business, logistics, and tourism hub of the region. Joining us today to talk about Antigua and Barbuda is our regional director for the Caribbean, Emma Goldsmith. Emma, I'd usually say thank you for joining us in the studio, but today we brought the studio to you in Aruba.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much for having us.
It's my pleasure.
Antigua and Barbuda is a small player in the context of CARICOM, but it has a lot more clout than one would expect looking at it as an individual country because of its strategic position in OECS, the Organization of the Eastern Caribbean States. Can you tell us about that dynamic between CARICOM, OECS, and Antigua and Barbuda?
So I guess when you look at Antigua individually as a country, it's not really comparable in size to the other CARICOM heavyweights, such as Jamaica with approximately 3 million inhabitants, or even Trinidad with about 1.5 million. However, Antigua really is a key player when it comes to the OECS countries. So while the Caribbean community has trade agreements and free movement of goods, the OEC countries is a smaller union inside the CARICOM itself that has a single currency, which is the EC dollar. It has free movement of goods and people, and its countries generally have healthier economies than many other islands across the Caribbean region. The OEC countries operate as a bloc within the CARICOM, which gives it much more strength as for the individual countries as they voice together within this community.
Like pretty much every other country in the Caribbean, tourism is really the mainstay of the Antiguan economy. What can you tell us about the other major sectors that they have that contribute to their GDP?
Well, Antigua is certainly trying to diversify its economy and not to just depend on tourism. So thanks to a business-friendly environment, a very well-educated workforce, a competitive tax regime, and a strong telecommunications infrastructure, as well as a very robust regulatory enforcement system, certainly make it one of the top places to invest, I'd say worldwide really. When we consider outside of tourism different areas for investment, I'd say that the international financial services sector is certainly one that's very attractive and also one that's been very successful in Antigua historical days. And it's grown and become even more attractive since the establishment of the Financial Services Regulatory Commission, which is the body that regulates the sector. And that's made it a lot more competitive. So I'd say that areas for investment within that sector itself would include international banking, offshore gaming, anything that's non-banking financial institutions, and other such activities. I guess tertiary education is another area that's been very attractive over recent years with international investors and continues to attract a lot of investment into that area, especially in the field of medicine. There's also plans under the Gaston Brown administration and pushing very aggressively to establish the fourth campus of the UE, which is the University of the West Indies. And that would therefore give Antigua university status, which is something that would increase again the wealth of the university and attract a lot of international or certainly regional students to the island.
So that's interesting what you said about the tertiary education sector, because up until now what the Antiguan government did was to finance or give us a certain type of loan to Antiguan citizens to study abroad, and they wouldn't need to pay that loan back when they came back to Antigua to work, but they would need to pay it back if they stayed abroad to work, of course. What are the other sectors that you were?
They're putting a lot into transportation and logistics, that's for certain. So Antigua's positioning itself to become a regional transportation and logistics hub for the Eastern Caribbean region. They've recently spent 98 million United States dollars upgrading the airport, and they can now boast one of, if not the most modern and state-of-the-art airport across the Caribbean. Liat, the regional airline, is also based in Antigua and uses the airport as a hub for all of their connecting regional destinations. The country is also currently undergoing a large export development plan at the port for the cost of $100 million. And this will include a large development of the port to improve its services and delivery systems. The cruise port is another area which has recently undergone an expansion worth approximately $30 million at the Heritage Quay Pier, and that was to welcome the largest cruise liner vessel that's currently circling the waters, which is the Oasis class. So Antigua, with all of those positions, are now looking to partner with cruise line companies in order to make Antigua the home port destination. So coupled with WEOC, which is the West Indies Oil Company, which is the local oil company, who've recently started bunkering services to feed the different vessels that are passing the waters of Antigua, it's certainly an attractive area for cruise liners and other shipping activity to take place. And then another area somewhat related to that is surrounded with the yachting and maritime sector, which again has always been historically well known in Antigua and continues to create a lot of attraction and a lot of different business opportunities. I guess we can't really finish talking about investment opportunities without mentioning Antigua's CIP program, which is the Citizen by Investment program. The program was launched in 2013 under the Gaston Brown administration and has been ranked the #1 CIP program in the Caribbean and the 3rd best program globally. And that was by Henley & Partners and Art and Capital, which are both well-recognized establishments within the area. The CIU, which is the Citizen by Investment Unit, is the unit that manages the Citizen by Investment program. And to date, Antigua and Barbuda has earned over $100 million from the program and has conferred citizenship on over 1,000 new Antiguans.
You mentioned that it's #1 in the Caribbean, #3 worldwide, so it's really considered one of the most attractive citizenship by investment programs in the world. Can you tell us more about why that is?
Yes, certainly. I mean, Antigua citizenship is certainly extremely sought after due to its many benefits. So first of all, we can say visa-free access to 134 countries, and these countries include the Schengen area, they include the UK and Canada, and there's no restrictions on dual nationality, so that's another area that is of concern in some other destinations. No tax on worldwide income, as well as other such incentives. And it's worth pointing out here that Antigua is actually currently the only Citizen by Investment program in the Caribbean region that offers visa-free access to Canada, as recently St. Kitts and Nevis lost theirs a couple of years ago, and so that certainly does put Antigua's CIP program into the prime positioning. And then if we just mention that there's 3 different ways of applying for citizenship in Antigua. One of them is the contribution to their National Development Fund, which goes into sustainable development programs across the islands. And then there's real estate investment, or thirdly, investment in business.
The current administration, led by Prime Minister Gaston Brown, who we also interviewed in Antigua and Barbuda, has been in office since 2014. What has been their strategy so far to lead the country forward, and what are the new developments in the country at the moment?
Gaston Brown's main focus since being elected has to create policies and developments which move towards Antigua and Barbuda becoming the economic powerhouse for the region. So it's a slogan that you'll hear very often when you're in Antigua and Barbuda, the economic powerhouse of the Caribbean region. So all of the developments that have taken place and that continue to take place, and those development projects that are in the pipeline, so we look at the launch of the CIP program, the expansions at the airport and the port, the outreach to new markets, which is another area. They've all been with this same goal in mind. So due to many turning points, and certainly the 2008 global crisis, the country's seen the need to diversify their investor portfolio. And the Gaston Brown administration has been very active in reaching out to new markets, especially in the Middle East and in Asia. So in 2016, together with their UAE partners, they held Invest in Antigua conference in Dubai. And this certainly proved a huge success in terms of creating awareness and recognition of the Twin Island states and the wealth of opportunities existing across the region. One of the main ambassadors for promoting the country is Robert De Niro, who recently, along with James Packer, made a huge development on the island of Barbuda. Because we concentrate a lot on Antigua, but obviously there's many opportunities in Barbuda Island also.
So something that's worth mentioning, you mentioned their investment conference in Dubai in 2016. They're actually holding a new investment conference in Antigua and Barbuda. This time, can you tell us a bit of
Yes, it's the second one to be held. They held the first one last year. It's a Citizen by Investment Programme conference, which was very successful last year. They're holding the second one this year at the end of May. So the dates are the 22nd to the 25th of May this year. And it's being put together by the Citizen by Investment Unit and promises to be very well attended by the international community that focus on citizen by investment programs across the region and across the globe.
So let's imagine I'm an international investor and I'm looking for a second home, perhaps in the Caribbean, not just as a financial investment, but also somewhere where I would want to spend some time every year, a significant portion of the year, and perhaps even have a new citizenship, a new passport. What is Antigua and Barbuda's quality of life like if I do decide to spend a few months there every year?
Having spent approximately 6 months in Antigua, I became obviously very fond of the island. It's the Caribbean. There's warm sun, turquoise sea, which obviously make it very attractive and very conducive for anybody who's considering a second home, considering a business opportunity further afield. However, Antigua offers a quality of life that you probably wouldn't find in all of the different islands across the region. Antigua's always attracted people from many different countries around the Caribbean islands due to its high quality of living, job prospects, and also to improve their lifestyles. So you can find right across the country large populations of Jamaicans, of Guyanese, of Dominicans, and there's also a very large Hispanic community. Each of these groups bring their languages, they bring their cultures, they bring their traditions, they bring their delicacies, which obviously make it for a real melting pot. And so anybody from any corner of the world can certainly feel very at home in Antigua. You can also find large numbers of North Americans, Canadians, Europeans who have either chosen Antigua as their new destination for a second home, or they've come in to do business and spend large periods of the year in Antigua and other parts of the year in the Mediterranean, in Europe. Also, the island is safe. It's easy to travel around. There's a wide variety of activities, anything from sports to cinema, and many dining options of different varieties. And then also you've got 365 idyllic beaches, one for every day of the year. Now, how can you go wrong with that? Possibly.
Well, that actually makes me want to go back to Antigua as soon as
Come back, welcome. We all look forward to going back.
You can find an overview of our report on Antigua and Barbuda in a special section in Harvard Business Review in the May and June edition. This is actually going to be a 2-part publication, so stay tuned to our social media and websites to have more information about the second part in the very near future.
We'd also like to especially thank Citizen by Investment Unit, Global Bank of Commerce, and especially Mr. Brian Stewart Young, the Hadid Group, the entire Hadid family. We can't forget Antigua and Barbuda Airport Authority, as well as all of the other organisations and entities and individuals who have supported us in putting together this feature.
For more information on World Investment News, you can head to our website, www.winne.com. That's WINNE for World Investment News. You can find our full web report on Antigua and Barbuda at antigua.winne.com. And for more Caribbean reports, you can find all of our reports on countries of the Caribbean at caribbean.winne.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And of course, please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more World Investment News video content. For World Investment News, I'm Stan Oren.
And I'm Emma Goldsmith.
Thanks for watching.